So, hello everybody. This is Crypto Davy podcast. We're joined today by Hyperlane, and we're going to dive deep into the project. Uh, could you please give us and our listeners an intro on who you are at Hyperlane and what is basically the project about? Just a brief introduction.
Yeah, for sure. So I am Fazila. I run the operations at Hyperlane. I've been working on Hyperlane for the past 2 years. I joined actually in February 2023. So really 2 years. I had my 2 years anniversary uh, 3 weeks ago. Um, and what is Hyperlane? So Hyperlane is a cross-chain communication protocol. So we are open framework for interoperability, meaning that we provide documentation, open source online for developers to build the application they need, um, especially when they have a cross-chain needs.
Mm-hmm. So let's dive into small results. I could say the
Mhm.
results and the growth of the project. So Hyperlane
Yeah.
has grown
Mhm.
significantly, I must say, in 2024, and
Yes.
it's really increased numbers
It's all
of.
because of me. I'm kidding.
Uh,
Um, so
um,
yeah, so we've had like a tremendous growth the past year. So I think it our growth started with the Celestia launch end of 2023, as like
mhm.
their launch partner to connect their the roll-ups with Neutron actually, and I think I would say like that was probably the kickstart of our growth. And then 2024, we've launched many chains. We've deployed many chains. I think now we have more than 130 chains um, available. So we
Mhm.
don't have routes on each chain, so that depends obviously. But like if there's a route that needs to be operated, that can be. I think what has helped the growth was also like a little change in the strategy, meaning that we also deployed a lot ourselves. So I want to give kudos to one of our colleague Paul, who's very like heads down, and deploying into new environments. So I think we are now available in five different environments, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the most used are, of course, EVM, sea level. We've also partnered with Eclipse and Cosmos. So I mentioned briefly Celestia. So you know, uh, we're there on, through the Cosmos, and we are actually at the moment with the um, with another team. We're working on the Cosmos SDK to be able to provide our service to the broader Cosmos ecosystem. So I think the growth basically was mainly part, from this, strategy of being, everywhere there where developers need us. Um, yeah,
Yeah, 130 chains is really amazing. I think I
yes,
haven't heard so many chains in a bridge. You're kind of connecting all the different ecosystems. When you
indeed.
come to transacting on chain, it's usually like if you're EVM, you go through a list of bridges you have, and then if you're non-EVM, you have different bridges, and they just work separately, and you have to
Mhm.
really know what bridges you have to use to find an optimal route. I guess this is a big advantage of Hyperlane that you can
Yeah,
easily transact through a wide
definitely.
variety of chains.
And
I
what's
mean,
super
this
cool
is
is that Yeah,
uh,
and what's super cool is that, whenever there's like an environment that isn't enabled, then it's very easy for another team to pick up and then, work on this environment because, as you know, and we're very proud of like us being open source. So that
mhm.
means really like anyone can actually kind of use the work of others, and then that's also like a network effect. So we're very, yeah, so it's like, we enable like we work in a collaborative way, and at the end of the day, that all came down to the vision that John and Nam, who are the founder of Hyperlane, they had, which was like, oh, they're gonna be like a proliferation of chains. They were very like sure about that, which I think is a little bit visionary. And they were like, we can actually provide to those, chains that are gonna be, proliferating, only if we have this open framework available. Because
Yeah.
if we have like a closed framework, if we have, a permissioned way, then they cannot like actually, neither they can launch nor they can grow, or they cannot just go to market as quickly as they could. And that's what we try to make it possible with Hyperlane.
I guess this is very important from the user and product side because if you think of the big products we use, they're usually very interoperable in between each other. I mean, if you go
Mm-hmm.
to some, I don't know, music download website, you can find all the music that you need. And if you have
Yeah,
to have 10 apps for different music genres, that's kind of,
it would be
uh,
horrible.
yeah.
I mean,
So
I only listen to one song all over again, so I'm kidding.
I mean, this brings up the question. You're
Yes.
usually compared with LayerZero and
Yeah.
Wormhole. Could you give us a brief rundown on basically uh, how your solution for
Hmm.
bridging cross-chain is different to
Yeah.
LayerZero and Wormhole, and what weaknesses do you see in this competitors, and what's the
Hmm.
current Hyperlane market share as a whole?
Yeah. So weaknesses, I'm gonna let developers talk about this, but I can tell you what are the differences. It's more the way we are doing. We're trying to solve the same thing, so we have the same goal, but like the way we're doing it, the journey is different. So you might have heard, I don't know if you might have heard, but like there's like a meme that, LayerZero are saying like interop is solved, interop is solved. But like it's solved depending on what you're actually building. If for you and you're building a certain application, and then the tech that you currently have is solving your issues, then yes, it's solved. But in so many aspects, it actually not solved. There's so many pain points still for so many projects. There's the UX is not optimal for so many projects. And based on that fact that every project is actually very different and has different needs, then we're like, we should let the dev know, or at least have the flexibility to build what they want the way they want. So that's why we call ourselves a modular framework, because we, what's the word? I'm sorry. Compartum. I mean, we separate. Let me use a easier
Hmm.
word. We separate like different technical aspect of interoperability, security, method, transport layer. Um, what else? Our ISMs and so on. So it's really like with all the different like um I'm missing a word. Component, sorry, with all the
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
component, then you can create the product that is solving your need. Uh, so that's I would say that's the main differentiator with us and the competitors. Um, Also, again, like this real openness that we are trying to provide. It's like you. Ideally, that's not the case at the moment. Saying otherwise would be a lie. But like ideally, in the vision, the end goal is like you don't even need to talk to Hyperlane. You access the documentation online, you access the website online, and you find all the answers. You create the great application that you need. You launch the token that you need. With the information that are being found online, with no vendor lock-in, with no permission. Nothing is permission. Everything is permissionless. Meaning that there's no need to ask the permission to do anything. And I think I really like, and that's actually one of the reasons why I joined crypto back in the day, was really because of the ideology behind it. And
Yeah.
I think that Hyperlane does a really, really good job at respecting the crypto's ethos, actually. But I
Yeah.
would say the main differentiator is that it's like no permission, it's permissionless, it's open source, and it's really like helping you build the solution you need based on your need. No one knows your need better, you know? Who am I to tell you what are your needs?
Yes.
So
So
that's a little bit like,
it's like an intent-based kind of infrastructure, as I get it. So it's
so
very.
it's not intent based, but it can be, because I don't know if you saw that, but we released with Bootnode and the Ethereum Foundation, we actually um, worked on an initiative called the Open Intent Frameworks. So with Hyperlane, you could definitely do all this. That
Mhm.
was also like what we try to convey. It's again because this is such a framework. This is a framework, This is really truly a framework. So it's very highly customizable.
Yeah, great. And do you have some numbers as per the market share of Hyperlane, just to give us an introduction, not an introduction, but
Yeah,
basically
for
where
sure.
you're at
Yeah,
for the market share.
of course. So I think the latest number that I have is from January. I think it was 34% market share.
Hmm.
Um, you know what? Let me check right now because it's available on our June dashboard. If you guys are not familiar with our June dashboard, please go and check it out. So the latest number that I have was okay. So this is a January number. It has not been
Hmm.
updated yet. So it's 32% Hyperlane, Wormhole 6%, and LayerZero 61%.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's very sustainable and big market share, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the also disclaimer, like this is market share on the number of messages. So
Hmm.
that's the metric that we use the most. And I know, if you listen to Wormhole, they're using different metric. They are like focusing more on volume, which for us, we're really like focusing on message, the number of messages.
Hmm. No, I guess this is just different approaches, and everybody tries to highlight their own,
Exactly.
unique ways. Some bridges are more for kind of transfer and volume in between certain chains, and others
Hmm.
are for basically having a wide range of chains that
Yeah,
you can interact freely with. It's just, I guess, different purposes.
indeed.
So another question I have for you is about the
Yes.
ecosystem growth. Uh,
Hmm.
you have announced that you're now supporting new SVM chains, and you're integrating with Aptos Fuel, the new Move chain, and other networks.
Yeah.
What were the main challenges for integrating non-EVM networks, and how does this affect Hyperlane's scaling speed? Because for
Yeah.
EVM networks, we have a wide range of bridges, all very competitive. This is kind of hard to, I
Yeah.
guess, compete and bring something very innovative to the space. But
Hmm.
how do you work with non-EVM chains?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, on the technicality, I'm not going to be very useful as I'm not very technical myself. However, I can tell you that what is very cool with Hyperlane is because it's a open framework, everyone can actually do it. It can be a little bit harder when you do not, when there's not like an existing connection. That's true.
Mhm.
Again, that would be like if you say, okay, just use the framework, it's going to be easy. No, it's going to require some more time, but it's definitely doable. Like I'm going to give you an example that is happening at the moment. We have this third party project on Cosmos who are building the Cosmos SDK module Hyperlane on their own completely. So, and we already announced it like a few weeks ago, and now they're continuing. I think they launched the test net a few weeks ago. Now, they're about to launch mainnet and so on. So, and they did it completely independently from us. Sometimes of course they've had questions, and we were there to help them and so on. So it's definitely possible. It requires more time, and then it's a matter of like us prioritizing, on a company level, where is it that we should put our priority to. And it depends. It depends on like the market, what the customers needs, and if some again because sometimes it's better when other people are doing it. We're also trying to see if other people or the team wants to actually build it themselves. um so yeah, and that's because of that framework, that open sourceness, that is actually makes it a little bit easier to do it like in a collaborative way. um so yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Speaking of the Hyperlane ecosystem, I also have a
Mm-hmm.
question in regards to the applications built
Mm-hmm.
on the platform.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's a new eco protocol for stablecoin
Yes.
exchange based on Hyperlane that was pretty recently launched.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my main question to you is, can we expect more applications coming on and building on top of Hyperlane? And
Mm-hmm.
are there any projects which are kind of in the pipeline already
Yeah.
being developed and etc.?
Yeah, so definitely you're gonna see new projects coming up. So I think today, probably when you're gonna um, release that podcast is gonna be available. So today we are announcing a collaborative effort with Kalani, who's announcing their solver network built on Hyperlane. So yes, of course. So we have many things in the pipeline, on the intent side, with Kalani, with Echo, on the message passing side with Cosmos SDK module, sorry, and then like several. I cannot say much unfortunately at that time, but we have like a lot of interest already, a lot of inbound, and we have like five very, including one very important team that is waiting for it to be available to integrate it. That's going to be really really huge. I can't say much, but it's going to be great. Um, so yes, basically, of course, hands down building many things, things that make sense, obviously, um, and here to support, whoever wants to build on Hyperlane. We keep saying, oh yeah, you can do it yourself, but we are also here. We're like actually the majority of the deployment and the work we're like doing it in-house, to help our the developers to just go to, to have a solution more quickly.
Hmm.
So we're there, so please reach out to us. We're very happy to help. DMs open, Discord open. And yeah, so yes, a lot of things coming. I think it's gonna be a really cool year, really cool first half of the year. Actually, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
That's interesting. Another question I have for you
Please.
is about the community role and
Yes.
your pilot program.
Yes.
I guess the community also plays, a very big role, because basically the end user is always the community, and
Yeah.
if you fail to build a community and basically, I don't know, we can call it a cult around your projects of supporters, which are very dedicated to your project, are using your services, it's
Yeah.
very hard to launch in crypto without the user base. So I know that the pilot program is already running, and you're planning to further develop it by integrating special tasks and tracking user contributions, as I understand it. Uh, Basically, my question to you is, uh,
Yeah.
what role does the community play in Hyperlane's development, and what
Hmm.
additional incentives are planned for very active participants and contributors?
Yeah. So first of all, the community is great. Honestly, we have a great community. I always love, scrolling on Discord and reading the chats, and I speak 5 languages. So sometimes I'm just like going over like even international chats and then like just saying hi, and then I'm just like reading all the messages. And also what I find fascinating is um the way that the community supports itself. I see questions answered by the community, tech support answered by the community. So it's just like incredible to see. Like it's really like I feel like we really have a really strong community that believes in what we're doing. Um, and I just love it. I have the support of from Cal, who's our community manager. We have also great technical moderators, community moderators. I think we have around like 60 pilots. Then we have other cadet recruit. Um, what we have operations division. So I think regional leaders, regional squadron. So we have several roles on Discord. Um, and again, like they're so passionate. I just love them. I just love everyone, and I'm so grateful and thankful. So if you're watching this, thank you so much from like the whole Hyperlane team. It's just great having your support. Um, I am sorry, I even forgot your question. But
Um,
basically, yes, like
yeah.
we're gonna grow the pilots program. So I think call is always, and I speak with call on a really regular basis, probably every day. I always make sure like that, if there's like someone that I see on Discord that comments a lot, I was like, hey, is that person part of the program? Pay attention. So there's like different sets of eyes that make sure that the community is like being taken care of.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's very important. Go back to your question, how important that is. That is important. So there are different type of like community. So there are the devs that actually use the product, that are very important to us, because they're gonna hopefully speak highly of us, and then word of mouth, and other devs might be introduced to Hyperlane via the devs and so on. So it's like very important, like it's a flywheel. But then we have also the community that are actual end users, the one like using, giving feedback. So those are very important. And then we just have like the 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 vibe community, like here to vibe with us, and they are so important because they gave us strength. They gave us they make us laugh. I check the memes sometimes. It's just like we have like, yeah, I would separate the community with those in those three segments, and all of them are equally important. um and yeah, thank you.
So, the last question I have for you before we wrap it up, and I decided to make this one a bit more spicy for the people tuning in till the end. Basically, I have a question about your token.
Hmm.
Uh, I know that the token, there was a token sale launched on Legion. It was recently announced, but it was published before an official announcement with the Hyperlane Foundation. What can you say about maybe why this happened, and what's the plan on the token? And I guess maybe that's me trying to figure something out, but you've been sugarcoating that maybe something will happen in the first half of the year. Could you give us maybe a bit of help in your view on?
Yeah. So what I can say, so the Hyperlane Foundation is taking care of it. So we
Mhm.
have like a clear separation of entities. They're doing a great work. They're working very hard to make this entire initiative happen. So I cannot say much. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit disappointment, and I'm going to give you a political answer. Um, but the reality is that they're still working on it.
Mhm.
Um, Nothing is really set in stone. Um, but they're gonna make sure that they're gonna make sure to create something good. And that's the only thing that we want them to be focusing on, is like making something good. Um, I can't say much. I'm very sorry. This is always like a very complicated topic.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
understand. Understand.
but yeah, they're working on it. And hopefully everything is gonna be fine. Like John would say, God willing.
Yeah, so digging on that just a little bit, maybe you could run us through, is there any plans for token utility, or is that also in the mix of being developed and not yet kind of fully live? You can't tell us.
That is fully correct.
Mhm.
That is part of the same initiatives, and that's something that is still being actively worked on.
Okay, so we'll be waiting to see the announcements from Hyperlane Foundation. Very much anticipated by a wide community, I guess.
Thanks.
I guess we can wrap it up here. Thank you very much for hopping on the podcasts. And to all the listeners, have a wonderful rest of your day. Until next time, this is Crypto Davy. It was great having you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.